Hello, YouTube world. V Gates. My name is Monica Liana, and you're here with Books and Beauty, where I talk about books while doing my makeup. So it's February, and we all know what that means. Love is in the air. And that means either you love yourself, you love somebody else, you want to read something steamy or just cute. I'm going to recommend some books that fits all those genres. So I'm gonna make this into a 3-part session because I didn't want to make this video too long, and I have 3 genres that I would like to basically go into. I first am gonna talk about romance, which are gonna be more of the rom-com type of, feel good, light, airy, barely no sex, if any. 2 is gonna be romance with some steam. So like we have romance, but there is plenty of sex scenes. And then we go into the eroticas, which will have all the taboo, age gap, spanking, stepbrothers, anything you can handle, I'll be recommending to you. So please come back for those 2 videos. I'm also gonna include 3 random books that don't fit the theme of like romance, but they have themes within them. So like I'll explain to you why, but there's 3 of them and there's 3 videos, so I'm gonna trickle in one of the books in each of the videos. So if you're wondering why these random books are in there, you'll know why as soon as I explain to you. So the first one is The Un Honeymooners by Kristen Lauren. This one is a hate to love kind of fake dating situation. So a maid of honor and best man basically do not like each other. They're at this wedding, and because of their food allergies or conditions, they do not eat the food at the wedding. So they're the only people that do not get food sickness. Lucky them. But the honeymoon is already paid for, so the bride is basically like, go take this, it's already paid for, act like you guys are married and have a good time. And from there you kind of figure out why they don't like each other. It's usually a misunderstanding. It's something that happens a lot in romance books, but it's basically just a misunderstanding. And as time goes on, they kind of realize, you know what, that person is not that bad. And then it kind of goes from there. It's very cute. If you want something light and hearty, this is the book for you. The next book is Shipped by Angie Hockman. This book is almost exactly like the Unhoneymooners. It is literally just different characters. That's it. Like, other than that, it's pretty much exactly the same in the sense that it's a misunderstanding. They hate each other, and then they end up going on a vacation together. This one is for work purposes. So they work together, they're co-workers, and she doesn't like him because she thinks that he took one of her ideas. Turns out it's a misunderstanding, just like everything else. But they go on this cruise together because they have to do it for work, and they're competing for a promotion, which then makes it where they're fighting kind of in a way to like get the promotion, and it kind of goes from there. They end up finding out that they are not actually as much of a hating each other, so it kind of goes from there. But like I said, if you like the honeymooners and you have not checked out Shipped, go ahead, because I'm telling you, it's like the same thing, just different characters, which is fine because they're fits the genre. The next is Get a Life, Chloe Brown and Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Tylee Hibbert. I'm putting these together because they are the same book in a series. They're sisters, and then there is going to be a 3rd book this year with the 3rd sister. So, Take a Hint, Danny Brown is about a woman who has chronic pain, and she's gotten to a point where she doesn't really do anything because of her chronic pain, and she ends up having a near life and death situation where she decides, you know what, instead of being scared of every little thing, I'm just gonna make it happen. And she partners up with her landlord, or it's either landlord or like the handyman I forgot which one exactly he is. And they decide like, hey, I have a list. Do you mind helping me? And he does it. I don't really know why, because they kind of don't like each other, but he ends up agreeing to like, hey, I'll help you like finish this list and whatnot. And I like his story because I've never seen it in a book talked about a male being abused, because he has, of course, everybody has their trauma, and he talks about how he was abused in his last relationship. I think she was like verbally abusive and whatnot, and it was very interesting because it's like you never hear about that, even though that is a thing. Men get abused just like females, but it's never ever talked about. So I thought that was actually pretty nice of a topic. And then Take a Hint, Dani Brown is about a female professor. She's one of the sisters from Chloe. She is a female professor, English professor. She's bisexual and she likes casual sex, which good for her. Well, her and the security guard he saves her from like an elevator, and it gets caught on camera. And because of this, it kind of goes viral. And he was a ex-athlete, and he now has a organization for like kids. And because of the publicity, it's kind of shown focus towards this organization. So he asks her like, hey, do you mind if we kind of play this up to get, focus for the fundraiser that I think he's about to do, and, get some money for the organization and stuff. And she goes along with it. She's like, fine, we can do that. It'll help you out. Blah, blah, blah. And they end up kind of catching feelings, but she doesn't really want to get with him because she's like, I like casual sex. I don't want to be in a relationship. And he kind of breaks down her walls and is like, well, why don't you actually want to be in a relationship? Like, what's the harm? And stuff like that. And you kind of go from there of like them helping each other type of thing. And like I said, there is a third book coming out this year that I will be getting and seeing whether or not it matches up. The next one is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuinton. This book is a male-male relationship, and they are not out of the closet. So basically what happens is, this is another love to hate situation. One of the guys is like the son of the female president, because this is alternate reality, female president. And then another one is like from the royal family over I think in England. And they first don't like each other. They don't like each other. They get into a scuffle at an organization, a little function. It gets caught on the paparazzis catch them and everything like that. And the security's like, y'all need to get together and like each other, because you're making your mom look bad. Like, she's up for re-election. We don't need this. So they kind of force them to hang out, which then makes them, ooh la la, I think I actually like this person, and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And since they're not openly gay, they kind of sneak around, so the paparazzis don't see them and everything like that, and it kind of goes from there. The next one is One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This one is basically the Bachelorette show. If you've ever seen it, I think I've only watched it like once or twice, if that. But it's basically the Bachelorette show. And this one, I don't really consider this one totally a romance book, just because like I wasn't rooting for anybody, but it's cute in the sense of like, it's the Bachelorette show, which is, supposedly about love, and it has a thicker model. They talk about some thick girls. And I know that there's slight controversy around this book. Bless you, mama. I know there's slight controversy around this book because they think that the female protagonist was not the best representation for... Sorry, I cannot speak. Believe me, I got 2 languages. I fuck up all types of words. But anyways, so they don't think she's the best because she's kind of shy or something. She's confident, but then she's also shy, and they have problems saying that she's not the best. And I don't have an opinion one way or another. Because I feel like if I was on a show and everybody was criticizing me, I probably would have not the greatest confidence myself. Because it talks about like people basically talking shit about her weight and like, you know, she's a cow and all this other stuff. And like, it's the whole discussion of like beauty and stuff like that. What it means to be beautiful in, you know, just in the world and stuff like that. And like, can somebody of her size actually be a bachelorette? And like, you know, should we be supporting that and stuff like that? So this is more or less just kind of a cute little game than it is like a romance book. But like I said, if you like the Bachelorette show, this is exactly what it is. 100% this is a Bachelorette show. Kiss My Cupcake by Helena Hunting. This one is same thing, cute. Hate to love. Two Barts, they both own a business. One's like a cupcake bar, one's like a regular bar that has axe throwing, which is like, that sounds a little scary, axe throwing while also drinking. But anyways, it's fictional, but I'm sure that's probably a thing. And they first don't like each other because it's the whole combative of like, you're taking my customers and you're being too loud. And because like his axe throwing is like, they share a wall and his axe throwing was like apparently on the same wall, and you can kind of hear it and stuff like that. And like, it's a bunch of like tit for tat type of situation. And then as time goes on, they start to realize, you know what, we can work with each other. Like, we can come to some agreements and kind of work with each other. And there's like a social media competition going on that they're also competing against, but it's like good rivalry. They're like, at this point in the book, they're kind of like, you know what, the best person wins type of situation. So everything is good. And like I said, it's cute. Hate to love. They bind together. There's bad people and they are the good people at the end type of situation. You Had Me At Hola by Alex Daria. This one is two actresses. One is a famous kind of like male actor that he is actually scared to be getting older. Like, he's getting older and he's scared that like this may be his last chance. He's trying to do a good job and make sure that like this works out, because he's scared that like he's gonna start not having any jobs, people are not gonna want him and whatnot. And then I think this is her first real big acting role, so of course she wants it to be a good job. She wants the show to be a hit. And they first don't get along very well because they kind of make a bad impression on both of each other. So he seems kind of like a stuck-up snob, and then because of that, she's like, oh, I don't really want to deal with him, but you know, I have to now. But he doesn't seem like who I thought he was going to be, because she was super excited to meet him. And then of course, it's like I said, a bunch of misunderstanding, and they kind of end up liking each other, but then they decide like, oh, we can't really be together because like we work together, it may be a bad situation and whatnot. And then you find out there's another reason why he doesn't want to get close to her, like because he's kind of holding in a secret that like nobody knows about. So he's like, oh, if we get together, I'd have to bring her into my life, and I don't know if I can do that. Like, you find out like why. So another situation, and I like the whole, they were actors and actresses on like a soap opera show. I actually like that aspect. It was cute. And then the Bromance book club, this one I feel like is very popular. Almost everybody knows about this one. And he is a famous baseball star, and him and his wife are getting separated. And of course he doesn't actually want to get separated. She's just more sick of the situation. Like, you learn a little bit more about their relationship and how they get to that part, why she's kind of sick of the situation, and the fact that he kind of doesn't pay attention to her and whatnot. And he joins this male book club that read male books, male romance books and stuff like that. Which at first he's like, how is reading about romantic books is going to help me with my marriage? And like, they start to be like, well, if you read them, then you can understand her better, type of situation. That's really what it is. Like you learn to understand her better. And that's what he does. It kind of ends up biting him in the ass a little bit at one point, which you'll see later, but he's like, oh, you know, if I read these books, I'll know how to understand her, listen to her, actually have romance and not just like sex and whatnot. And it's the point of view of her, him, and then the book that he's actually reading. My dogs are making all types of noises. And then the last book that I'm going to throw in, because I told you I have 3 random books. The last book that I'm going to just throw in is The One by John Mars. And the reason I'm throwing this one in is because if you don't actually like romantic books, which I don't blame you, I don't read a lot of romantic books. It's more of I read so much thriller and suspense books that I feel the need to break it up every now and then. And so that's why I read every now and then like a romantic book. But The One by John Mars is about finding your person. That's exactly what it is. It's finding your person. You do a DNA test, and this other person in the world will link up with you. And whoever that person is supposed to be the person that you're supposed to be with. And it follows 5 characters. One of them is a serial killer that gets paired up with somebody, which is interesting. Another one is a male guy that gets paired up with a male. He's not gay, but he gets paired up with a male. A second one is a woman that lives like across the country. I think she lives in London, and then her guy is in Australia, and she ends up just going there without even telling them and shows up, and that's not a good situation. Another one is a lady that her guy is actually in a coma. And then the last one is the person that actually made is the owner of like The One. She's the person that came up with the DNA testing. And so it's 5 people. Each chapter is like 2 to 3 pages. Like, it's super quick. But yet every chapter, so 2 to 3 pages, every chapter, it always ends with a cliffhanger, which is absolutely crazy. It is so fast paced and so good. And it is 100% like a Black Mirror episode. So if you like Black Mirror, seriously, read this one. But that's why I'm kind of including it, is because if you don't really like romantic books, but like, you know, it's, you know, February, we're talking about romantic books and everything like that, you can kind of talk about this one. Like, it has the theme of like finding your person and what that means. And these are people that even have already significant others. Like, that's how like kind of fucked up it is. And whether or not you should do this, and if this is a good thing, like what's true, what's not true. So I highly recommend it for like the rando. If like you're not really into romantic books, but you want to read something, this is one that I recommend. So that's it for the romantic kind of like cutesy, not very much sex books that I recommend. The next video will be on the steamer side, and then the one after that will be basically the eroticas. I mean, they're romantic books, but there's a lot of graphic material that it's like, you might as well just call them eroticas. But if you like this video, please subscribe, like. I will see you next time. Wiedersehen.